a lovely morning, clear skies, brisk. This week we're going to talk about winter cycling and what appropriate weather we have here today in London for that. Dreary, dull, drizzly, a little bit cold, so English winter anyway, not Canadian winter weather. So we're going to talk about how to make it more enjoyable and the things you can do to stay dry and warm. First thing that makes such a big difference when you're cycling in the winter is your attitude. You really just need to embrace it, have the right gear, just get out there and enjoy yourself as much as you can. And actually, once you are out, it actually is pretty fun. And your rides might be shorter, or you may end up deciding you've had enough and going home because your toes or feet got cold, but at least you got out, got some miles in and made the most of it. If you're gonna go out and think it's gonna be miserable, you're probably gonna be miserable. If you go out knowing you've got the right gear, the right setup, the right clothes, and you'll be all right, you'll probably be all right. When riding in the winter, it's really important that you ride to the conditions, the same as driving a car. As a cyclist, you're gonna be dealing with things like wet leaves, icy patches, if you're really unlucky, snow. So you need to ride at the appropriate speed for those conditions, and you'll probably be riding more in the dark if you commute. So again, slow down, take your time, it's not a race, enjoy yourself, and yeah, you'll be fine. The other thing to keep in mind when you're cycling in the winter, when you leave the house, you'll probably be a tad chilly or a tad cold, and you should be, because you'll warm up in about 5 minutes and you don't want to overdress and then end up sweating and getting wet from the inside. So yeah, you'll just have to brace yourself for that first few minutes, pedal harder, and you'll be fine. So just expect to dress to be chilled for the first few minutes and then get on with it. So you'll need a few things to make sure your winter cycling is enjoyable. Number one, lights. You'll be riding in the dark, and even on the drearier days they're a good idea to have on. They're a legal requirement in the UK for riding at night and in a lot of other places. So get yourself a decent set of lights and then a cheap pair for backup in case the batteries die, you forget to charge them, or one breaks. You want to invest in a good jacket, a good waterproof, windproof jacket. Shower Pass makes some really great jackets if you can afford them, but there's a lot of great affordable options out there. Checking out the sales, especially in the spring, is a good time to buy a winter jacket. In the UK, a good rain jacket is wearable all year round. Some essentials for when you're riding in winter. A good pair of gloves. I recommend a waterproof, windproof pair with a lining so that you keep your hands warm and dry. Your hands and feet tend to get cold first, so that's why I recommend getting a pair of gloves and shoe covers. So my shoes are actually inside here right now. This pair of shoe covers, it protects my feet from the wind and the wet, so these are waterproof and they have a lining inside, so they keep my feet toasty warm. I usually put them on once it gets below 5 degrees. There is a little extra faff to getting them on over your shoes, but once it's that cold, it's worth it, the extra minute or two to arrive with warm feet. Next up, a waterproof and windproof jacket. So a nice bright color is always good in the dreary winter weather, and yeah, some good water protection and wind protection there, and a hat or something like a headband to protect your ears and keep your ears and head warm. So that's some of the winter gear I use. Here we go, my bike set up for winter commuting. It's also dirty, so it's due for a clean. As I mentioned, light's very important, so that's my rear light there. I still use the original Peigne. If you ever watched my commuting video, one of the first videos I made, it's still the same one, still going. I like it because the this packs up and down as I need it or don't need it, so I really like that bag. And my front light, here we go, and I'm actually testing this new one here, which is powered by this magnet. It has no batteries, doesn't need charging, which is a perfect backup light. I'd still keep this one because this one's good for seeing and being seen, whereas that one's better for just city riding being seen. So yeah, that is my bike, the one that took me across Canada and now all over London. Mudguards, so I have full mudguards. These are the ones we got for going across Canada, and they have a nice flap at the end there. So again, they, as I mentioned, they keep your gears clean and they protect your brakes, especially if you have rim brakes, not so much if you're using disc brakes like this bike. But yeah, that is my winter commute setup. You'll learn quickly how many layers you need or don't need and what works for you and what doesn't work for you. So get out there, try it, challenge yourself, push yourself, and make the most of it. Cycling can be done year-round and it can be fun year-round. So just make the little adjustments you need to in the winter, add the extra gear, change your bike around to make it more enjoyable, but challenge yourself to stick at it and get through the winter. It really is worth it, and then in the spring you'll be in that much better shape for the summer riding. Thanks for watching, and as usual, please leave me your comments and questions below, and if you have any tips for winter riding, especially you Canadians out there. I've never had to ride in a Canadian winter, so I would love to hear how you guys deal with snow. I know when I was talking to my dad, when I first started cycling, he said about the studded bike tires, and I thought he was joking, and then I was in a bike shop in Canada and saw the studded bike tires, so I'm fascinated by those, how riding on studded tires is. So anyone out there, please let us know below.